Good morning and welcome to the Eden Valley. Behind us, we are presented with a piece of history. Certain parts of this house predate the reign of King Henry VIII. Other parts were created within the Jacobean era and then finished off and polished in the Georgian period, one of my favourite areas of time. The building has a huge amount of history, and the vendors have traced some of this back, predating the 14th century. That means that this fantastic 6-bedroom house is not just a wonderful family home with exceptionally thick walls and a building that has lasted for what seems like almost 600 years. Upstairs, we're going to get to show you some of the most fantastic crook beams that I've ever seen. And the flow throughout this shows all of the different periods of time that this wonderful house has been alive. I think without further ado, we're going to take you around, show you, and I'm going to tell you about some of the location elements that are here, but also touch on some of the history that is enveloped around this wonderful property. So the rear of the property here is absolutely as pretty as a picture. Come down and follow me in. So we've got, this is the front, or maybe the rear elevation, whichever way you want to put it, because the house angles in different areas to be able to show different parts. And throughout this video, I'm going to show you some of the fantastic views that are set all the way around here. So come on in. So the first introduction into this entrance hall is obviously what looks like a very old fireplace, some fantastic beams. And this really does show you what this building could have been. Now, if you look at the thickness of this wall, it has been noted by the vendors that they've had some exploratory discussions with historians that this could well have been a tower predating the 14th century, which means if you can romanticize about that era, we've got knights, we've got chivalry, we've got castle owners. The grounds and land around here would have been hunted by kings and queens over a very long period of time. And this elevated position was a fantastic vantage point too, if this was a tower, to be able to look out above the surrounding scenery to be able to see whether or not you were going to be invaded at any point. But that's all over now. We are now into a fantastic house which actually keeps a lot of its original feel. You've got those very thick walls. You've got a lovely kitchen which really actually fits this period, and complete with a little bit more recent kitchen jewellery with a nice Aga, sandstone flagging floors. But let's go and have a look at some of the living accommodation. So this is our first glimpse of a Jacobean staircase. We're going to come back to that in a moment. This sitting room here is absolutely beautiful. We've got all these fantastic beams really showing a good level of age within here. And when I show you the bedrooms that are above, they are absolutely going to blow your mind. All these windows and how they are set has a large amount of originality. But the space that's in here, we're very lucky that even though this is a listed building, they've managed to have double glazed windows put in a number of years ago, meaning that you can keep a bit of energy efficiency in here, which is a very important thing, especially in a 6-bedroom detached house. So a fantastic fireplace. This is a more recent addition, but I think fits very well within here. And we do have some of the nuts and bolts of the house, which is a rear staircase going up to the master bedroom and a cloakroom. Now, there is one other area down here, which I quite love, and that's met by these wrought iron railings and takes us down to a rather fantastic wine cellar. It's a great space, but I'm not going to take you down there today. This is just for you to use your imagination prior to your viewing. Let's go and have a look at some of the other ground floor accommodation. So we've come into the formal dining room area, and the thing that I would like to show first is we've got a reproduction of what probably would have been something of the original doors. But this is definitely an original opening, which again, as the vendors have researched, would be into the tower. So that section through there would have been obviously significantly older than the rest of the house. But we've now come into what I believe is part of the Georgian renovations. So there's a great big, beautiful dining area. And then if you keep coming through, you come into a nice snug, but with this being a more Georgian area of the property, you've got bigger windows, which means you've got lots of light. Nice, obviously fireplace, but not a particularly old one. And then coming into this section here, which is a lovely library, come study, come reception room, whatever you decide you want. And then that rear door takes you out to the first of not one, but two walled gardens with beautiful views over the Pennine Fells. Very nice. So now I'm going to show you, because a utility room shouldn't be that exciting, but this one is, so let's go and have a peek. So as promised, not any normal utility room. It is a great big utility room with loads of storage space, a loo down here, and a further door that goes back out to the first of those walled gardens. Now it's time to show you a different time period. We've got a Jacobean staircase, and I'd like to show you that now. So this is a Jacobean staircase. I've seen quite a few before, but they've usually been in quite significant mansion houses, and the fact that this has actually survived is quite impressive. There's something else I'd like to draw your eye to on this older window. They've got a fantastic stained crest, which is actually adorning that, which is lovely. So if you'd like to pop up here, first room we've got over here is a nice shower and bathroom. And then we have quite a selection of bedrooms. So we're going to start at the master, and then we're going to work our way through different periods of time to take you through from where the 14th century would be all the way through to that Georgian alteration. Welcome to the master bedroom. Quite a substantial room with its own dressing room, its own ensuite. But look at the age in these beams. And everything's so well preserved. All the mullions are looking fantastic. It is a really large, bright and period-filled place. Even the fireplace here that obviously clearly isn't working any longer, you know this has got some age to it. And I think there's the beauty of this property is that you've got not only some of the anecdotal stories that the current vendors have, but there's also that opportunity to research and try and understand the history of this building as it is now and as it was potentially 600 years ago or so. So in here we have a walk-in wardrobe, the family bathroom, but mainly the ensuite I would say for here is in this room with fantastic beams. Now this is the room that really tells the history of this. The beams in here are absolutely spectacular. So this screams and shouts. This screams and shouts history. The feeling that you have in here is quite amazing, and the beams are rather overwhelming in a good way, not in a bad way. It is a beautiful space. This old fireplace is obviously still there, not functional, but at least the outline of that is still here for us to see. Now this, as the vendors have said, was part of the original tower and quite an amazing vantage point. Now if you could look right through that little window, I'm going to throw the drone up so you can see what the outward view would be from there. So we now have a very large corridor which leads through to the further 4 bedrooms, I think, within the house. We've got a very light and bright room in here. And as you can see, the larger windows with that Georgian renovation. We have another bathroom here, which is a beautiful space. And everything here feels period correct. It feels as if it's been done to enhance the building, not to over contemporize it, which is definitely not what this house needs. There's a rather lovely bedroom down these steps. And as you can see, bathed in sunlight and really hitting those beams, bringing all of the yumminess out of that room. I don't even know if that should be a real word, but it is today. And then we have another rather lovely bedroom. And I'm actually going to scoot past. And again, we're going to show you just a couple of little flyovers of the house. So as the house has been developed over the years. As you can see, as we're flying over the roof of this property, you can see that there's various different period elements that are within it. It's a wonderful garden space, and as you can see, there is so much here, including all of the lush foliage that sits behind. You wouldn't believe that only a few miles away we're very close to all of the major transport links for Penrith, including the M6, the A66. Train link services getting to London can take just as little as 3 hours. And now coming back to the house, I think we should probably explore the final bedroom. Now it feels a shame that we've come to the end of our tour, but this almost feels as if it personifies Georgian taste and Georgian style. Even though the vendors have said with the different types of bar, which almost gives it a bit more of a Victoriana feel, I really like these instead of the 6-panel Georgian windows that are pretty standard, and really shows that the people that did this 200 years ago back in the Georgian era really wanted to be able to create something from a slice of history to one side and really envelop that as it goes through the rest of the property and make it into something a little bit oozy, which this property feels. I think we should go outside and have a look at not one, but 2 walled gardens so that I can show you the rest of the external space. Coming back into the library, stroke, study, stroke, whatever room you want this to be. This is a fantastic garden room, by the way. We may as well go outside and have a look at the first of one fantastic walled garden with these little hidden recessed seating areas, the views all the way over the Pennine Fells. This vantage point is quite spectacular. And this is another reason why, from a historical perspective, this would make complete sense that they built a tower here as an observation area to be able to survey all of this vista. And you can imagine that most of these trees wouldn't have been there, so the opening would have been quite vast. But coming back to the wooded area to the rear, keeps you very private, feels very organic. It's just such a beautiful backdrop, and the sun's just poking its head out now to be able to show you how wonderful this garden space is. So let's just keep going. I have to reiterate, the woodland is not owned by this property, but there is a rather lovely gateway that leads through, and there is a public access through a part of the woodland at the back, which means that you've got a bit of access into a nice piece of woodland. And looking back at the date that's attributed to this, we've got a 170 odd year old gate that's obviously been used for a long period of time to go into that rather nice woodland. Now I'd like it if you could just look back and have a look at the house as well, and it shows you how beautiful and private this first section is. So we're going to go through this, which looks like 2 little turrets, and I've always liked it whenever I've been here. Let's have a look through there and have a look at the second walled garden. After coming what looks like 2 little gatehouses, which there's a replica of it over there, we enter the second walled garden. Now they've laid this section here to a bit of a meadow just to encourage that vast amount of wildlife that's here. You've got a fantastic space. I mean, looking back to the main house, it's a really beautiful area and very private. There's a vista of tree line, sandstone walls, lovely grassed areas, and even comes complete with some what looks like maturing vegetable plots, which is lovely. So standing here and looking back, you can see the different periods of build throughout the time that this wonderful listed property has been about. Spectacular. So let's give you a final recap. We're about 5-6 miles away from the M6, from the A66. The Penrith station you can get the train all the way into London within around 3 hours. So from a commuter perspective, this is a really well-placed area. I'm very biased, but personally, I live around here as well. And about a mile away is Great Salkeld, which has a thriving community, very energetic community with people that really want to enjoy that village lifestyle. The country pub there, I do eat there quite regularly, is absolutely lovely. The landlord and landlady are special, and that means that the food that they serve is wonderful. So having that as a part of a village connectivity is of paramount importance. Village locations can sometimes struggle a little bit with internet coverage. Now, we all help to install a thing called Barn, which is about 750 megs of super fast broadband. So that means that we are not cut off the grid. We are as fast as we can be in the town, and sometimes faster. Actually faster than my office in the centre. There is a wealth of history here, and there is so much that I could go on about, because I love history and I love historical buildings. But if you are a person that wants to have a historic building with a story to tell, in a wonderful location, with spectacular views, with walled gardens, with 6 bedrooms, with everything else that I've shown you so far, and in good order, not something you need to rip apart and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds getting right, then this is a spectacular option. If you are interested in this property, please do give me a call on 01768 881111, and I really look forward to be able to discuss this with you further. Thank you.